In every home, behind every closed door, there's a story waiting to be uncovered. Welcome to Dark Whispers, where we dive deep into the hidden truths of domestic crime and the relationships that turn deadly. If you're drawn to real stories, powerful insights, and the shadows most people avoid, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and step into the whispers they never wanted you to hear.
And topping our news tonight, an East Alabama teen convicted as an accomplice to murder, learning his fate today in a Russell County courtroom. Emotional pleas from the parents on both sides of this case before the judge rendered his final ruling for 18-year-old Jadarius Snipes. But it was his mother who ended up in handcuffs during this proceeding. Newsletter 9's Alexis Thornton joins us live from our newsroom after being at that sentencing hearing. So, Alexis, tell us more about this courtroom drama today.
Well, Jason, two fathers stood before the judge today with completely different pleas. Snipes' father begged for mercy for his son, while the victim's father demanded justice with the maximum sentence. But tensions escalated when Snipes' mother was handcuffed before the judge sentenced him to 45 years in prison.
A mother gets handcuffed in the same courtroom where her son just got sentenced to 45 years. But here's the thing. He wasn't even the one who pulled the trigger. Let me tell you something. This case got layers that'll have you asking questions all night long. December 2023, Phoenix City, Alabama. A robbery, a murder, and a social media post that came back to haunt everybody involved. Buckle up. Jadarius Snipes was 18 years old when everything came crashing down. This wasn't some kid from nowhere. People knew him in Phoenix City. He had connections, had family, had folks who'd vouch for him. His uncle? That's what Douglas Rutledge called him. Not by blood, but by community. That's how tight-knit this place was. Everybody knew everybody. But knowing someone and truly knowing them? Two different things entirely. Ryan Boles was a student at Columbus State University. Young man with his whole life ahead of him. The kind of person who left an impression on people. The type that when he was gone, his classmates made a whole video tribute just to honor his memory. That's who Ryan was. That's who got taken away on a December night in 2023. Now, Phoenix City sits right there on the Alabama-Georgia line. It's the kind of place where word travels fast, where reputations get built or destroyed overnight, where one wrong move can follow you forever. And social media? Girl, social media don't forget nothing. It keeps receipts. It timestamps your life. It shows exactly who you were at your worst moment. That's what happened to Jadarius Snipes. December 2023. Synovus Bank parking lot on 13th Street in Phoenix City. That's where everything went sideways. Douglas Rutledge was there that night. He got robbed. But robbery wasn't where it ended. Somewhere between the robbery and the chaos that followed, Ryan Boles ended up shot, dead, gone. And here's where it gets complicated. Jadarius Snipes? He wasn't the shooter. The person who actually pulled that trigger was 15 years old, a whole teenager, not even old enough to drive legally in some states, took a man's life that night. But because of his age, that 15-year-old sentence stays sealed. Juvenile detention, hidden from public record, protected by laws designed for children who make terrible mistakes. Jadarius, though, he was 18, legally an adult, and being present, being part of it, being connected to what went down, that made him just as responsible in the eyes of the law. But let's talk about what really put the nails in his coffin. The morning after Ryan Boles was killed, the very next morning, a photo surfaced. Jadarius Snipes posing with a gun, throwing gang signs, standing there with younger boys, kids who should have been sitting in somebody's classroom learning algebra, not learning how to pose for pictures that scream violence and chaos. An investigator brought that photo up in court, talked about how Jadarius wasn't just caught up in one bad night. This was a pattern. This was influence. This was a young man leading even younger boys down a path that only ends one way. His mother, Mary Herbert, she heard that testimony. Heard them talk about her son like he was some kind of menace, like he was beyond saving, and she couldn't take it. She stood up and walked straight out of that courtroom.
I'm entitled to be angry. I'm entitled to be pissed off. I'm entitled to walk away when I don't want to hear BS.
She meant every word. But the judge? The judge wasn't having it. He ordered her back inside. This was her son's sentencing hearing, and she needed to be there. She refused. Just flat out refused. And that's when deputies put her in handcuffs right there in that courtroom. Contempt of court. Her son about to learn his fate. And she's getting arrested at the same time. Let's rewind to that December night. The Synovus Bank parking lot wasn't random. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment situation. Douglas Rutledge was there, and he became the target. Robbery. They wanted whatever he had, and they were willing to do whatever it took to get it. But Ryan Boles? He was in the wrong place at the absolute worst time. Maybe he tried to help. Maybe he was just there. Maybe he saw too much. We don't know every single detail of how it escalated, but we know how it ended. Gunshots. Ryan Boles on the ground. A 15-year-old with a smoking gun, and Jadarius Snipes right there in the middle of it all. The shooter might have been younger, but the crime was grown. Felony murder. That's when someone dies during the commission of another felony. In this case, robbery. It doesn't matter who pulled the trigger. If you're part of the robbery and someone dies, you're catching that murder charge too. Period. That's the law. Cold. Unforgiving. Equal. Jadarius didn't pull the trigger, but he was there. He participated. He played a role. And in the eyes of Alabama law, that made him a murderer too. When police started putting the pieces together, it didn't take long. December 2023, witnesses. Evidence. And then that social media photo that just wouldn't go away. Investigators knew they were looking for multiple people. The robbery victim, Douglas Rutledge. He survived. He could talk. He could identify. He could tell them exactly what went down in that parking lot. And when you got a living witness who watched the whole thing unfold, that's your case right there. But here's what made it even more airtight. That photo. The one from the morning after Ryan Boles died. Jadarius Snipes holding a gun, throwing gang signs, surrounded by younger boys who were supposed to be in school. Investigators pulled that image, time-stamped it, connected the dots. This wasn't just about one night of bad decisions. This was about a lifestyle, about influence, about a young man who clearly wasn't learning any lessons from what had just happened. The 15-year-old who pulled the trigger, he got picked up too. But because of his age, everything about his case got handled differently. Juvenile court, sealed records, different rules for children, even children who commit grown crimes. Jadarius, though? 18 years old meant adult court, adult charges, adult consequences. The evidence was solid. Phone records, witness statements, that damning social media post. The prosecution had everything they needed to prove Jadarius Snipes was there, was involved, was part of the robbery that led to Ryan Boles losing his life. And in Alabama, felony murder don't care who pulled the trigger. You're in it? You're guilty. Jadarius Snipes got charged with felony murder and robbery. 2 separate charges for 2 separate crimes that happened in the same nightmare of a night. The trial didn't last long. When you got witnesses, evidence, and social media receipts all pointing in the same direction, the defense don't have much room to work with. The jury heard the facts. They saw the evidence. They came back with a verdict. Guilty. On both counts.
I want you to see this because I lucked out. Because of the fact that I didn't want to hear them saying stuff.
Jadarius Snipes' mother, Mary Herbert, left the courtroom after an investigator spoke to the court, referencing a social media picture the morning after the killing of Ryan Boles. The investigator says the photo showed Snipes with a gun and throwing gang signs with younger boys, influencing them, when officials say they should have been in school.
I'm entitled to be angry. I'm entitled to be pissed off. I'm entitled to walk away when I don't want to hear BS.
The judge ordered deputies to place her in handcuffs after she refused to come back inside the hearing.
So for anybody to try to condemn me or force me to listen and tell me I wanted you to be there for your son, no, you wanted me to listen to y'all lies. Because if you was actually there for my son in a judicial way, you would have never allowed none of this stuff to happen.
I think she is just making excuses for her son and for his actions and not taking responsibility, and he doesn't either.
Snipes was sentenced to 45 years for felony murder and 20 years for robbing Douglas Rutledge before Boles was shot in the Synovus Bank parking lot on 13th Street in Phoenix City in December 2023. Rutledge also took the stand addressing Snipes, saying, quote, "I pray that you find peace. I love you and I forgive you." Rutledge called Snipes his nephew, just knowing him from the community.
He'll be eligible for parole at some point. I don't know when. The family and our office will be notified on any future parole dates, and as far as I'm concerned, we will begin objecting as soon as the parole dates come up.
And Snipes' mother says he will appeal in 42 days. The 15-year-old who pulled the trigger, killing Boles, is serving time in a juvenile detention center, but due to his age, his sentence is sealed. CSU students also made a video tribute to Boles that played in court today. Reporting in the newsroom, Alexis Thornton, WTVM News Leader 9.
Yeah, like we saw there, a very emotional day in court. All right, thank you, Alexis.
Mary Herbert walked out of that courtroom because she couldn't handle what she was hearing about her son, got handcuffed because she refused to come back. And honestly, you can understand it. What mother wants to sit there and listen to prosecutors describe her child as a gang-affiliated menace who influenced younger boys toward violence? What mother wants to watch her son get sentenced to nearly half a century behind bars? But Ryan Boles' father was right too. Making excuses don't help. Walking away don't change what happened. And at the end of the day, somebody's got to take responsibility for the fact that a young man is dead, and his family's got an empty seat at every holiday table for the rest of their lives. The 15-year-old shooter? He's somewhere in a juvenile facility right now. We don't know his name. We don't know his sentence. We don't know if he feels remorse or if he even understands the weight of what he did. His records are sealed, protected, hidden away, because the law says children deserve a second chance even when they take someone's first and only life. Jadarius Snipes don't get that protection. He was 18, legally an adult, old enough to know better, old enough to face adult consequences. And now he's got 45 years to think about that December night. 45 years to think about Ryan Boles. 45 years to think about that social media photo. 45 years to think about whether it was all worth it. This ain't a story with a neat ending. There's no justice that brings Ryan back. There's no sentence that makes his father feel whole again. There's no appeal that'll make Mary Herbert stop seeing her son as her baby instead of a convicted felon. There's no parole hearing that'll satisfy everybody involved. What we got is a dead college student, a grieving family, a mother who got arrested at her son's sentencing, a robbery victim who chose forgiveness, a sealed juvenile sentence, and an 18-year-old facing 45 years for being there when the trigger got pulled. December 2023 in Phoenix City, Alabama. One night, one robbery, one murder, and consequences that'll ripple through multiple families for decades to come. That's the story of Jadarius Snipes and Ryan Boles. And it's a reminder that some decisions don't just change your life, they end it. Whether you're the one who dies or the one who survives, that parking lot marked the end of everything both of them could have been.